block. Otherwise, you can purchase them at the door. More info at am950radio.com. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the nighttime hours, 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Tuesday, Vice Presidential Debate Tuesday, as we call it. And if I'm going to have that, we're going to have this going on tonight. I need to have a top-notch, 5-star, A+++ guest who happens to be my bestie from Chicago. Casting at WCPT and 820 from 5 to 7 in the evenings. It's Patty Vasquez. You can also hear her in the evenings on AM 950. She's kind enough today to join us to prep ourselves for the VP debate. Woohoo! Hey, Patty.
Hey, I'm so jealous you guys are doing a watch party. That's what we should have done, was a watch party.
Well, it's kind of by proxy. I mean, we had to tone down the Minnesota a little bit. It's like, no, we're not doing a hot dish pass around. Okay, we're not. It would have been, actually. I'd been all over that, actually.
We had a guest, one of my regular guests on my show. He's an author named Adam Selzer. And when you're back in Chicago, you've got to go on one of his tours. He does sexual tours. He does cemetery tours. He's made so far a couple of the hot dishes that Tim Wall's recipes that he's received. When you make a donation, you get a Tim Wall's hot dish recipe, and they're fantastic. One had tater tots and brats. I'm sorry, what? It was amazing.
Well, the crazy part about it, and I mean, you really have to, I think everyone has to experience this at some time. Go to a rural Minnesota church where a bunch of 75, 80-year-old Scandinavian women are making hot dish, and it's, I do it over here with the mushrooms. It's delicious. And you put it out there, and you're going to be like, how is this even possible? This is like 5-star Michelin-rated food, and it's with tater tots on it, and you're like, okay, I'm with this. I'm all with this, man.
That's heavenly. Yes, we're doing a watch. Sort of, it's not a party if it's just a bunch of me and my friends, I guess, sitting at the studio, like near the newsroom, just watching it on big screens. I guess it was fun. The last debate was very fun, But I'm excited for tonight. How are you guys feeling in Minnesota about your governor?
I'm feeling good, but I mean, I think it's important to talk about the difference between what Kamala Harris did to Trump. And that's probably not going to happen this time, because Trump is really easy to goad with. All she had to do was start going after crowd sizes, and he just basically fell apart.
Right.
Vance, as much as an absolute imbecile as this guy has been on the campaign trail, that you can't order a donut, can't fist bump. I mean, as bad as he is, we have to remember he did get elected in Ohio, which is not just, necessarily gets you the win. He clearly knows how to do some things. I haven't really paid that much attention to how his debates went back when he was running for Senate.
Right.
But it's not going to be the same thing. A lot of it, I think it will be a much tighter thing just because Trump imploded, but it will be closer. But I still have faith that, Governor Walz will win out in the day, because really, I mean, all Vance is they're trying to eat pets, and let's, stop women from having rights.
Oh my God. Well, and I'm curious as to, like, I was just thinking about if I was on Governor Walz's prep team, what I would have him say, because that I'm sure you guys have talked a lot about how CBS announced they're not going to do any fact checking.
Yeah, garbage.
I was trying to think like what I would advise, like what I would write for Governor Walz, be like, let's just go ahead and assume that everything he says is a lie. I'm not going to bother trying to fact check him or saying that's a lie. Just assume that everything. I don't know how you like just sort of pull the pin on that. I don't know, but
you know how you do it. Here you go. He comes on out and he says, my opponent over there basically says you can make up a lie about Haitians in Ohio eating pets to bring awareness to an issue. Fine, I'll do what he says I should do. He likes having sex with couches. Now, I just made that up, but I want to point out how horrible he is with Project 2025.
Yes.
I'm just playing his game now, and I'm going to point it back at him. And watch Johnny Maybelline over there basically just lose it. Just lose it.
I like that. See, you should be on the prep team for Governor Walz. I mean, you're in Minnesota. I mean, I feel like you're just a couple phone calls away for being part of the team, Matt.
I imagine my name might have come up and they might have said, oh, sweet Jesus, no. You know who they got Vance is playing Walz for Vance is the large tub of Elmer's glue that we call Tom Emmer, the whip, and he's Minnesota 6. They sent him over, and I'm like, well, you've been trying to take credit for everything he's done anyway for the last 4 years, so you might as well now just pretend to be cosplaying him at this point.
That's hilarious. I can tell you, we are. I mean, I was surprised this morning, but I guess I shouldn't be. Did you hear these numbers about how about 25% of Americans really don't know either JD Vance or Governor Walz, which I guess because we married in it. But I hope that they are tuning in, because I'm just so excited. I loved that commercial, or whatever it is, that video of him fixing his vintage car, while explaining Project 2025. And he's like, and this is a cruise control he's showing us on the left. Oh my God. I mean, what is happening? I mean, what? Aaron Sorkin couldn't have written a character this wonderful.
Well, he's got a practicality if he sticks with that.
Yes.
I mean, if he sticks with that, I think it will play, because what will Vance look like when he tries to take that down? He looks like he's just going after the everyman. And I think that's, if you want to know, Walz's best offense is a defense. You basically be who he is, explain what he's going to be, do his folksy, Holmesy thing. And then when Vance tries to go, not politics and you're eating pets and stuff like that, he just looks like he's beating up on every rural American that's out there. And did you see the numbers? Speaking of numbers, most unpopular vice presidential candidate choice in history. and so he has to try to do something today. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do to try to win people over, but maybe he'll try to smile. Maybe he'll come on out with a completely different persona. I don't know, but it's going to be different than the Trump Harris debate.
Oh, certainly. And to your point earlier that Trump just became unhinged so easily when she, pulled out the, have you seen his crowd? Go to one of his rallies. I wouldn't normally tell you to do this. I mean, it was so fantastic. It was like, go ahead. Just trust me on this. So I don't know what the baiting or I don't know. I'm excited about tonight. And I do wish I was going to watch it with a crowd, because I think it's going to be heated, because they both, to your point about JD Vance, and he's debated before and he's won an election. He's got some chops. So I do want to, but I really want to see Governor Walz eviscerate him.
Let's go back to something you mentioned earlier, and this is the CBS decision to not fact check, which I made the point on social media earlier today. I said, if they say something that's just an outright lie, say like they're saying that Joe Biden is not delivering hurricane relief to the hurricane victims down in the southeastern United States. If they say something like this and you let that fly, then you yourself are endorsing that lie. If you're the news media, facts should matter. And if they say something when ABC corrected him, they were only correcting him because he was saying such outlandish things that basically they had to step in. I will be insanely disappointed in CBS News if they allow Vance's lies a la cats and dogs to basically go unchallenged when he brings them up.
I agree. I don't even know why, they're sharing any of, I guess, letting us know what the ground rules are. They're trying to shake things up. I mean, Les Moonves has said that Trump might not be good for the country, but he's great for ratings. And they feel the same way about the kind of outrageous. And when I say outrageous, it causes outrage, right? That people get fired up. And we've seen in Ohio that it's put people in danger. That whole week after the last debate, there were bomb threats. And down schools and hospitals. It was insane. So to your point about like they owe the American people that kind of at least some safeguarding with the truth.
Well, and I think that it's the media. There was a great point today about this whole lie with the hurricane stuff, and somebody questioned Joe Biden's like, why are you even questioning me? We're doing this. Talk to the governors. We've already done this. And someone made the point is like, why are you questioning Joe Biden about Donald Trump's lie? Why aren't you going to Donald Trump and say, why are you lying?
Right.
And the media just doesn't even see the bias that they put out there. And what it is I think to a point, they're cowards. They're afraid. They like, you talked about the numbers. They don't want to look like, they don't want to be labeled the liberal media, whatever. The reality is that this is journalism 101. Go to the source and ask the source why they said this. Don't ask other people, because you look like cowards, and at the end of the day, you're basically only doing the bidding of the guy that's doing the lying.
Exactly. Yeah, they really are. It still amazes me. We had this conversation on my show and on another show on WCPT with Jonas Bizito, which
Yeah.
is well, honestly, the level of information. What today? I guess CNN is starting to charge. They're having a paywall now. It's like $3 or something. They're going to start a paywall, and the problem is that truth now costs money and lies are free, and people are more likely to want to just consume the lies. And there are young people, well, there are people of all backgrounds who believe that it is Joe Biden's fault that we have such strict abortion bans across the country.
Oh, yeah.
Because it happened during his administration. And I'm like, oh my God, this is why Schoolhouse Rocks was so important in our lives. But for today, I am still just a bit like nobody understands how the government works anymore. What is happening?
Well, I will say this: the Harvard poll that came on out, and once again, polls they're undercounting Democrats 5 to 15 points. We've seen this. This is not one time, or this has been for 2.5 years. The Harvard poll comes on out. It's overwhelming that the Generation Z and the young millennials are going for Harris at this point. I think that they're seeing this, and the reality is there's only so much. If you're this constant negative, everyone's trying to kill you. Everywhere's a war zone. Everything's horrible. They were the worst ever, and I'm the only savior you've got. I mean, you've really got to be dumb as a brick to follow that guy. Because if that was someone in your regular life, you would immediately say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take the bus. I'm going to take the bus. Have a nice time. See you later. And yeah, that I think that Generation Z, whereas Generation X, where they couldn't advertise to us because we could see ads coming a mile away. Generation Z just has zero tolerance for this stuff, and they don't buy spin nearly as much as other generations have. And I think they're seeing through this lies, and it's not convincing people as well. I at least that's my hope. At least I thank God I hope it is.
You mean the fried eggs in a pan? This is your brain on drugs? Was a the kind of stuff they try to shovel at us.
I always wanted more eggs. I was like, hey, well, eggs look good, man. Why don't I get some eggs?
I was like, I'm high. I need some of those eggs. That looks delicious.
Well, they got the message across one way or the other. Egg producers were grateful. I mean, just the egg producers were happy that you're doing wonders there. So yeah, I have a feeling Walz is going to win. You do?
Tonight, I do. Oh, I'm very confident that he's going to wipe the floor with JD Vance. What I want beyond him, doing extraordinarily well, because I am confident in that, is I really want JD Vance to play.
All right, we're going to take a break. I'm going to let you finish that thought. Also, I want to come talk about get your thoughts on some numbers issues, because there's a big number problem for Trump right now in North Carolina. We'll talk about that. Patty Vasquez from WCPT joining us. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on a Tuesday.
Hi, I'm JP Debragosian, host of The Gaily Show, celebrating LGBTQ culture and entertainment in Minnesota and beyond every Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. Coming up this Saturday, October 5th, is Going Out, Coming In, a celebration of LGBTQIA+ history at the Quatrefoil Library. This event is a partnership between Quatrefoil, the Minnesota Historical Society, and Twin Cities Pride. Going Out, Coming In is a unique journey into the past queer spaces from downtown Minneapolis. It looks at the evolution of those spaces from the 1940s through to the turn of the millennium. Founded in 1996, the Quatrefoil Library started as the dream of David Irwin and Dick Hewitson. They had a vision to start a gay-themed lending library because their own collection of books had the interest of friends and members of the community. At the event, there will be interactive art, community performances, and conversations of love, resistance, and queer joy as you travel through the exhibit, seeing how queer life grew and evolved in downtown Minneapolis. It is this Saturday and starts at 6 p.m. The event is free, but tickets are almost gone. Go to qlibrary.org for tickets and more info. Coming up this Saturday at 2 p.m. on This Queer Book Saved My Life, my guest will be Nick Bussett, and we'll be talking about the play Edith Can Shoot Things and Hit Them by A. Ray Pamatmat, and Ray joins us for that conversation. After that, on The Gaily Show, author and LGBTQ organizer Brett Edward Stout joins me to break down the upcoming election from a queer perspective. Plus, Christmas is getting started early this year. White Christmas opens this weekend at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters, and one of its stars is the queer actor Tony Vierling, who will join me to talk all about it. So tune in this Saturday at 2 p.m. For now, enjoy this hour of The Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, it's Tom. Harness the power of the sun and slash your energy bills with Solar Plus energy storage from All Energy Solar. By storing and using your own energy, you can reduce your energy bills beyond what a home solar system alone can do. Solar with battery backup from All Energy Solar can optimize your energy use and potentially eliminate your energy bill. Millions of dollars in new battery storage incentives are up for grabs for XL and non-XL customers. But don't wait. These funds are limited and awarded on a first-come, first-served basis. Then save even more with the 30% federal solar tax rebate and other local incentives from Minneapolis, Edina, St. Louis Park, and other communities. If the incentive process seems overwhelming, don't worry. The experts at All Energy Solar will guide you through the entire application process to maximize your savings. So start storing your own energy and cut out the utility company with Solar Plus batteries from All Energy Solar. Get a free quote at allenergysolar.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Tuesday. Good to be with you today. The vice presidential debate today is tonight, and Patty Vasquez from WCPT, kind enough to join us to talk a little bit about this. We were talking right before we went to break about how you think this is going to go. I think Walz is going to win. I don't think it's going to be as much of a trouncing as Harris gave Trump. But that's the vice presidential. That's the vice presidential debate. I mean, usually, unless there's a fly on the dude's head for half the dang thing.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that this is a unique situation, with this debate. I mean, there's just such a different energy right now because of JD Vance's just terrible and dangerous claims and rhetoric when it comes to immigrants, when it comes to, oh my God, when it comes to women's bodies or women at all. I mean, between, being the women without children are sociopaths and just cat ladies, women who are postmenopausal are supposed to sit around and wait for their children to have children, to be caregivers to their grandchildren. I don't know that they want us for anything besides sex and dinner. Like, that's it. That's I mean,
well, you've been on stage, you've done comedy and stuff like this. If you're a not well-liked entertainer, let's say,
yeah,
and you go up on stage, it's incredibly hard for you. I mean, he's put out all this stuff, as you said, that has been very negative, very poorly received. I saw the audio today that he had where basically he said, victims of rape and incest, why are we thinking about the victims of that? We should be thinking about making them have the kid and understanding what a treat they had. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
If you're an entertainer and you get up on a stage and people hate you, it's almost impossible to win over the crowd. How is there any way that he's going to be able to rejuvenate himself after all the stuff that he said?
I know. And what's crazy to me are the women that support Trump and Vance. I mean, I'll never understand. Vance literally sees us, to your point, as incubators. We are only hosts to procreate. And like I said, sex and dinner is all they want from us is to be baby makers. It is really, it's so crazy. I think about this quite a bit because we are, of course, seeing these tragic instances where women who are not receiving necessary care are dying. Because and then to be, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene going on about like it was not the lack of a care that killed them. They did it to themselves. All these things. It's like it's just, I can't believe we're in this moment. And I know that people think, well, because we live in Illinois, you guys are in a blue state, that all goes away if these two get in office. If Trump is in office again. When we say January 6th was a dry run, was a rehearsal, it's not a joke, man. I mean, these people want to dismantle so much of our democracy and restrict our freedoms, strip away healthcare to millions, to whether the deportation of millions. That's just, you're just asking to have violence in the streets. Anyway, I'm so angry.
Well, you should be, and the reason, you're spot on. I mean, you have a bunch of people that follow him that either one, their racism is more important than their wealth, their health care, their family, their quality of life, or two, their only goal is to see their perceived villains suffer, and that's the only thing driving them. Those are the two groups that make up MAGA. That is it right there. And if it is terrifying to think that there's that many people there. But reminder, this is a case where the Republicans have created these people in rural America by saying we're your saviors and then making their lives unbelievably worse. Rural America has been screwed over by Republicans, and they will do it because they need people angry to justify voting for them.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to just one thing I wanted to touch on here before we get out of here, because this has nothing to do with the VP debate, but I saw a number today. Robinson in North Carolina, 17 points down, now 17 points down. But yet they were saying that Trump is still leading by 2 points. And I step back from that and I say to myself, okay, wait a second here. You're saying 19% of the voters in North Carolina are going to vote for the Democrat for Senate, or for a governor, the Democrat for governor, and then turn around and vote for Trump for president. And I try to figure out, if it's a good year for something like that, maybe 6 or 7 points. Historic outliers, maybe 10, 11, 17 points. If Robinson is indeed down by 17, I'm starting to get to the point of like, how is Trump going to win that state? Because clearly they've turned off so many voters. Yep. I just don't see how that happens.
Yeah, I don't see folks. I don't get that voting for Trump and then voting for the Democrat for governor. I agree with you. I don't see that at all.
I get the impression from North Carolina that governor's race has taken over that ballot. It's not that Trump is there. And I'm not saying that people don't care about the presidential race, but clearly what is going on there is with the politics wise. I mean, obviously they're dealing with this hurricane now, but with the politics wise, the ballot is far more about that governor's race than anything else. And that's if that's how it does seem like that to me. And if that's the case, I just don't see how, if Trump loses North Carolina, this whole thing's over for them.
I agree. And we've got to, I know folks are traveling down to North Carolina to, volunteer and things like that. Folks are going, someone asked me to go to Pennsylvania in a couple weeks, but I'm sticking to Wisconsin, who you, by the way, I love that the other day. I texted you, I almost spit out my good wine. When you said that Wisconsin's like the cousin that our parents made us play with.
Regarding Illinois and Minnesota, and Illinois, Wisconsin, the cousin our parents made us play with. Yes.
Well, yeah. So I have buttons now that say fibs for Wisconsin because they call us effing Illinois bastards. So I've got Illinois and Wisconsin holding hands. We're gonna be door knocking all over Wisconsin. So very excited about that. You guys don't call us fibs, do you?
What's that?
You guys don't call us fibs, do you?
Oh, no. Illinois is in good graces with us. Iowa, we got the Iowa, we got the Dakotas, we got Wisconsin. We look to Canada. We're like, oh, hey guys up there, how you doing? It's like, it's like we have Iowegians that we have to deal with that are, a little bit sketchy down there. Nice corn and pork chops, buddy. When the rest of the culture shows up, let us know. I'm sorry. Look at me. I'm a horrible, horrible man. Sorry to my listener in Iowa.
You're very upset.
Well, okay. I'm feeling good. Obviously, we need to keep things in tone. I think one of the main things I wanted to do, and I'm glad that you and I did this, I want to make sure we keep things in perspective. This is not going to be like Harris and Trump. It's going to be a very different, thing. And once again, sure. Vance clearly knows how to do some debating because he did win his Senate seat. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that, look, at this point, we're really trying to go for the persuadables, right? The folks who, for whatever reason, I don't know how, haven't made up their minds. So I think that if you have these two guys standing next to each other, if you can see with a clear heart and clear eyes, and what is it? Clear eyes. Something can't lose. Whatever.
Spike ball. Tackle that guy.
I'm confident that Governor Walz is going to win folks over. If you're a racist, if you're a homophobe, if all the misogynist, then JD Vance is your guy.
Yeah, exactly. You, of course, I want for all the people listening in Seattle, Patty Vasquez is fantastic. You can stream her show once again, Central Time Zone, 5 until 7 at WCPT. You can hear her in the evenings on AM 950 here. And of course, in Chicago, listen to her live 5 to 7 there. Patty, my show is better when you're on it. Thank you very much.
I look forward to having to breaking things down with you on my shows tomorrow. I think
Thursday, I believe. It's Thursday. We're going to join. Tiny Vasquez. We'll take a break.
Bye,
Come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Thank you. See you later.
Join Twin Cities Quorum as they celebrate their 31st annual National Coming Out Day Luncheon. This inspirational, transformational event gives voice to the power of living openly, honestly, and with authenticity at work, in our families, in our faith communities, and across our lives. The National Coming Out Day Luncheon serves as a celebration of who we are individually and together. Join us as our community celebrates the strength, courage, and wisdom of LGBTQ+ and allied people who have braved their own unique journeys to now live openly, authentically, and with pride. Reserve your tickets today for Friday, October 11th. This year's National Coming Out Day Luncheon will be at the Minneapolis Convention Center. The Marketplace Expo opens at 10 a.m. and the luncheon begins at 11:45 a.m. Tickets are available to members for $70 or non-members for $90. Learn more and purchase your tickets in the events section at TwinCitiesQuorum.com. That's TwinCitiesQuorum.com.
Come see the Trained Chimp. It's the Matt McNeil Show, 3 to 5 p.m. weekday afternoons, right here on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Hi, this is Laura, and airing this Sunday at 9 a.m., we're going to be holding a democracy special sponsored by ACLU's People Power and Let People Vote. What is the role of dirty tricks in U.S. elections, and what can we learn from American history? Joining us will be Joseph Cummings, author of Anything for a Vote, Dirty Tricks and Cheap Shots, and October Surprises in U.S. Elections. Tune in this Sunday at 9 a.m., and we'll be listening to an ACLU People Power and Let People Vote special.
Fall means back to school, and hands down the best vehicle for the family is the Toyota Sienna from Rudy Luther Toyota. It hauls everything in comfort. Lots of kids? Check. Mountains of sports gear? Check. A band's worth of musical instruments? Check. Multiple science projects and schoolwork? Check. And the Sienna Hybrid gets you fantastic mileage, and it's the safest vehicle I've ever driven, something I will brag about for the rest of my life. The Toyota Sienna is the perfect Minnesota family vehicle. Test drive one today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
KTNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 64. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 52. And Wednesday, sunny with a high near 80. And don't forget, our Vice Presidential Debate Watch Party is taking place tonight at the Park Tavern. Doors open at 5:30 with Mike Crew broadcasting at 6, Matt McNeil at 7, and then the debate at 8. Online tickets are still available until today at 4 o'clock. Otherwise, you can purchase them at the door. More info at am950radio.com.
Broadcasting in the nighttime hours at 11:50 a.m. KKNW in Seattle, in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the afternoons live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Good to have you with us. We, of course, tonight, and obviously Seattle, this is in the morning for you, but tonight here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, we are going to be over at the Park Tavern with our debate watching party. We're looking forward to that. You can still get tickets at AM 950 Radio. If you're in town, you want to be there, by all means, you can get tickets at am950radio.com. That goes until 4 o'clock. And then after that, Brett, correct me if I'm wrong, after that, everything goes online, correct? Or actually, at the door. Excuse me. It goes from online to the door.
Yep, you can still get tickets even when that online window closes at 4 o'clock. Just purchase them at the door coming up tonight at the Park Tavern.
We got Mike Crute going to be there. Of course, our 6 o'clock show. He's going to be here live doing that show. I'll be out doing show at 7 o'clock. I got trivia. We got all the hosts from this station. Going to be talking to the Park Tavern. I'm going to get a pickle burger. I might have to eat the pickle burger live on air. Can I do that? Brett, can we do that? Can I eat a pickle burger live on air?
Well, now I regret using my broadcast equipment and bringing it out there to the Park Tavern.
I'm going to spray it down, man. Spray it down with pickle love, man. Wow, that sounded far more disturbing than I think we wanted it to.
It sounds like something J.D. Vance would have said.
HR is here to see me. You don't say. Okay, well, all right. I'll chat with him. We got that. And then, of course, the debate is at 8 o'clock. Come on out. Park Tavern, fantastic place, great food, bowling, and it's the place to be. We're going to be out there. Looking forward to that there tonight. And once again, AM 950 radio, if you do want to get tickets before 4 o'clock this afternoon, local time in MSP. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. I mentioned this with Patty, and I do. Why are you guys so freaking angry all the time? I get it. I guess I get it. The Republicans have screwed you over constantly. They have made your schools worse. They have made your health care worse. They have made, they have made your quality of life worse. They've run off, especially in rural America. Republicans have run off pretty much any job they can. They have made sure that you get paid minimum wage at best. You don't get benefits. You don't get any of these things. You have to work 3 jobs to try to afford anything down in rural America. And they have done this to you with a smile on your face. I want to make sure I point out something to you. For 50 years, Republicans have been winning seats in rural America under the argument is, well, you better vote for us because things will get worse with Democrats. Meanwhile, here in the Democratic cities, things are great, man. I love living in Minneapolis, St. Paul Metro. It is fantastic. It is nice. It's a good quality of life. The schools are good. I've got great health care. I get paid a decent wage. It's kind of one of those things where we have a quality of life here. Meanwhile, in that same 50 years, you go to a small town after small town. 50 years ago, you used to have 6 or 7 businesses in your downtown. You used to have a diner. You used to have the co-op. You used to have a few gas stations. Now, what do you got? A main street of empty storefronts with dated and faded for sale signs or for rent signs in them. All the jobs have been run out of town. The gas station's the only thing that's left open anymore. And there's a 5 or 16 person wait to get a job there. And even if you do get a job, you're working 3rd shift and you're getting paid minimum wage. And yet you guys, this has all happened under the Republicans. They have not made your life better. I mean, in Minnesota, the Republicans here, this is about 10 years ago. There's this push to get broadband statewide in Minnesota. And the Republicans kept saying, we need to bring broadband out here. And they had a lot of Democrats agreeing with it. And then all of a sudden they came to voting for it. And guess what the Republicans did time and time and time again? They voted against broadband, unless it was to their cabin, their lakefront, a small town where their mom was or something like that. They weren't doing statewide. Well, guess what? When the Democrats took over the state under the leadership of Governor Tim Walz here, one of the first things they passed was statewide broadband. They got it done. And yet you guys sitting there who have been basically having to drive 40 minutes to the nearest McDonald's so that you can do, your kid can do their online homework. Now you're going to get better broadband, and yet you still want to give Republicans credit for it when they didn't do anything for you. I get why you're angry. But you're angry because at yourself, because you keep electing people who are there to screw you over. That's just that. They are not there for you. They are there for the wealthy handful of people that bankroll their campaigns or give them their lobbying gig when they're done with office. That is what they're there for. They're there for their eventual book tour, not to help out you. And yet here you are, you follow this, and it's just the tones of these two campaigns could not be more polar opposite. Hate, fear, anger, they're going to kill you all. They're going to take all your stuff. I am your only savior. I am the only thing that's going to save you. Versus hope and joy. Let's make everyone's life better. Let's make a better America. Yet you guys are, you're going to vote for angry guy. You know, the fear I have is, for some reason, the Democrats don't show up and Republicans win, Trump wins. The fear I have is that when these people realize what they have done to themselves, what do you mean my Social Security is going to go away? No, you're just taking away Social Security from those Democrats and those people. You know what I'm talking about. My Social Security, I'm a white guy in rural America. My Social Security stays, right? No. The amount of Republican voters who will come on out and get in front of a camera and say, yeah, me losing Social Security is decimating me. I'm probably going to have to sell the family farm. I'm going to lose everything. But as long as I got the Democrats and theirs and those people, you know what I mean? As long as we stop their Social Security, well, I guess it was worth it. I can't help you. I can't help you. I don't think anyone really can help you at this point. I really don't. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I do have to make sure I give a lot of credit here to a man named Jimmy Carter. Joe Biden described Jimmy Carter as one of the most influential statesmen in our history in a tribute marking the former president's 100th birthday. God bless him. Just God bless Jimmy Carter. 100 years old. That's a good run, man. That's a solid run. Carter has been in hospice care since February 2023. On Tuesday, he became the first former U.S. president to reach this milestone age. He's the first president to reach 100. I did not know that. Biden praised Carter, calling him a moral force for our nation and the world. I recognize that as a young senator. That's why I supported you so early, Biden said. You are a voice of courage, conviction, compassion, most of all, a beloved friend of Jill and me and our family. He added, referencing his first lady, Jill Biden. Joe Biden also spoke about Carter's commitment to public service, even after his departure from the White House, including his decision to found the Carter Center, an ungovernmental organization, in 1982 to help improve the lives of people both in the U.S. and abroad. You're one of the most influential statesmen in our history, Biden said. Even after you left office, the moral clarity you showed throughout your career showed through again in your commitment through the Carter Center and the Habitat for Humanity nonprofit, resolving conflicts, advancing democracy, preventing disease, and so much more. I should mention Habitat for Humanity has been one of the greatest charitable groups in the history of this country, helping people building their own house and being able to have a house, and how incredible that is. Matter of fact, in town here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, we had Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. God bless both of them too. Just fantastic people. They have been working with Habitat for Humanity across the country, and they started a new construction project in St. Paul on Monday. Week-long Jimmy and Rosalind Carter work project is an event celebrating the Carter's legacy and launching Habitat for Humanity's new housing development in St. Paul's Greater East Side called The Heights. And Brooks and Yearwood joined Carter's work project right after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, have worked alongside it for the past 17 years. God bless you both. Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood are two of my favorite celebrities, period, because they're doing what just amazing people do. They're out there helping to build houses. And, and this kind of goes back to that point I was making about the angry right. Have you ever talked to a modern MAGA Republican about Jimmy Carter? He's horrible. We're President guy. He's horrible. And then you say, Habitat for Humanity. And even they, well, yeah, I mean, that was really good. And I'm not, okay, fine. I can't help you when you're that broken. When you can't look at, maybe, his presidency wasn't the greatest presidency in this country's history. Very few are. Very few are. Joe Biden did a pretty good job, but not the best presidency. But the legacy of this man will live on for hundreds of years. And I can imagine you're already training your great grandchildren to in 2150 to sit there and go, Jimmy Carter, worst president ever. Wow, but he's helped build 3 million homes in this country. Well, okay, fine. Yeah, I guess that's a good thing. In a world of J.D. Vance's, be Jimmy Carter. In a world of J.D. Vance's, be, Garth Brooks, be Trisha Yearwood. You can sit there and hate and anger and all these things. The reality is Jimmy Carter, a great man, and his longtime legacy. And that's the thing which is just amazing, is that he's one of the first presidents whose longer term legacy is kind of overshadows his presidency. And that is something that's very impressive. And A good thing. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. I'm going to probably spend a good chunk of the rest of the show talking about Hurricane Helene, because this, if you've seen some of the footage out of western North Carolina, northwestern South Carolina, eastern Tennessee, northern Georgia, I said this yesterday, and I stand by this. No infrastructure in those areas that was built was designed to survive what it just went through. Nobody, when they sat down and they planned out a road, planned out a building, planned out a dam, planned out, whatever infrastructure they built, no one said, I wonder will this thing survive 2 feet of rain in a 24-hour period? Nope, not even close. The amount of towns in those valleys in western North Carolina that there isn't a building that has not been absolutely destroyed. It is, apocalyptic. And this is climate change. You've taken storms. You've taken storms and they've turned them into monsters. Used to be it hit southern Florida, or it would hit, Galveston, Texas. Now it hits Florida and leaves a 300, 400 mile swath of scoured land in its wake. Just terrifying. Nature always wins. Hurricane Helene has left officials in 5 southeastern states grappling to respond to the widespread destruction it caused after hitting Florida as a Category 4 storm. Officials confirmed at least 40 deaths in North Carolina Tuesday, raised the death count in Georgia from 17 to 25 on Monday. The number of deaths they've counted so far, 139. They're actually expecting that number to go up dramatically. There are towns where they say hundreds of people are still not accounted for. And that is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. And the good news is, and once again, if you forget about Trump and Vance and there, Biden isn't helping him. No, they've sent in everything. They called up all these governors and said, what do you need? Get it. You call us and we'll get it to you. And that's what government should do. That's what government should do. There is an element of this which our modern society and our modern Trump mentality is running up against common decency here. And it really is disturbing to see where some people are going with this hurricane. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a break, come back, talk more about this, because, man, some of you guys out there, you're just freaking broken to the core. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Tuesday.
Catch our vice presidential debate watch party tonight at the Park Tavern. Doors open at 5:30 with Mike Crute broadcasting from 6 until 7, Matt McNeil hosting from 7 until 8, and the debate starting at 8 o'clock. See our own Governor Tim Walz showcase Minnesota's progress and take on J.D. Vance and all of his MAGA lies. Enjoy the debate, light appetizers, and a cash bar. Tickets are $30 and are now only available at the door. So get up off the couch and join us to see Walz versus Vance tonight at the Park Tavern. Find details at am950radio.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
At Better Futures Minnesota, we support Minnesota's environment by working towards zero waste and the transformation of the lives of men in our workforce development model. Better Futures Minnesota engages men with histories of incarceration and homelessness. Our approach reaffirms each man's dignity, instilling self-discipline and behaviors that empower them to achieve self-sufficiency and a better future. We set hard-to-employ men on a pathway to independence through employment in our reuse retail warehouse and work crews specializing in building deconstruction, property maintenance, appliance recycling, and janitorial services. We strive to create a sustainable future where social equity, economic opportunity, and environmental justice intersect. By addressing these interconnected challenges, Better Futures Minnesota works towards building resilient, healthy communities for all Minnesotans. We believe that true sustainability can only be achieved when all members of our community can thrive. Join us in making a difference. Visit us at betterfuturesminnesota.com and donate today.
When addiction takes hold, it's easy to feel like no one can help. But you're not in this alone. For 75 years, Hazelden Betty Ford has been at the forefront of addiction and mental health care, evolving treatment, reimagining recovery, and breaking through barriers to help families everywhere find healing. So please reach out at 855-489-2383. Help is here. Sponsored by Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation and aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Nice to have you with us today. Once again, the debate, CBS, 8 p.m. tonight. That's where you go, 8 p.m. Central Time. Of course, obviously, we'll be done by the time we get out there in Seattle. Enjoy this. And after John Oliver's show this week and Jon Stewart last night, may God have mercy on us all, and may Kamala Harris absolutely destroy him, because, dear Lord. Anyway, let's get back to, I want to get back to the hurricane here, and I just wanted the reaction of some. An interesting story, because obviously I work in media. Sometimes when I see a media story, I kind of get like a moth to a flame, that sort of thing. Old-fashioned legacy media, particularly radio, have become vital information lifeline for the chaotic aftermath of the hurricane. Power outages, lost cell signals, and hundreds of road closures have stifled the on-ground reporting, giving way to falsehoods that can spread quickly online, creating urgent need to correct them. Local reporters are working overtime to correct the record. In many cases, they're filling an information void left by local government officials who were caught off guard by the severity of the storm's flooding in mountainous regions of the Asheville, North Carolina area. Fact checkers and local reporters have debunked dozens of viral videos and photos and videos that were doctored or posted out of context, including AI-generated video of a tornado looming over a local shopping mall and others of first responders rescuing deer in boats. They're also helping to debunk online rumors about safe drinking water and security of critical dams. In one case, an online hoax about a dam collapse caused unnecessary evacuations, and North Carolina officials said, all right, I need to stop right there. To all you idiots who are so desperate for attention because you lead a life of loserdom that is hard to even fathom in our modern day society, screw you, stop doing this. You're scaring people. Because it's a joke. It's a joke. No, you're the joke. You're the joke. Dear Lord, a massive natural disaster tortures and torments a community, and you can only think of, now I can make something that people are going to believe, and I'm going to post it. It's going to be awesome. You're scaring people who have already been through hell. Can you drink the drinking water? Well, here's this guy saying we can't. And I don't know. What's wrong with you? Seriously, what is wrong with you, you broken, mentally unfit human being? What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? Why would you go out there with a fake press release about the dam's going to break? Because I want to see people who've just lost everything scramble for their lives up a hill. And if we find out who you are, you'll be I don't know why you're persecuting me. It was a joke. I didn't mean any harm. Joke? It was a joke? You are horrible, horrible people. Just horrible people I mean, it was Rob Schneider. He was the guy that was the copy guy on Saturday Night Live, right? Yeah. Dikembe Mutombo just passed away, the NBA player. He passed away because he had cancer. And, of course, Rob Schneider goes on out there. It's like, he got vaccinated, just another one for their crew. And I'm paraphrasing what he said, but who does that? Seriously, who does that? Going back to the angry thing. What is wrong with you people? What is seriously wrong with you? That someone dies, people go through a tragedy, and you have to basically make it about yourself. Screw you all. I mean, seriously, this is just horrible what you are doing to these people. If you want to help them, make a donation. Don't sit there and spend, I just doctored this video to make it seem like they're all about to die. I'm going to post it now and tell them to run for their lives. Why doesn't anybody love me? Yeah. God, just, where did you losers come from, man? Stop watching all the freaking porn and go out into the sunshine every once in a while without your cell phone, okay? Dear Lord. Following last week's devastation across the southeastern United States by Hurricane Helene, right-wing commentators across X and Instagram have been spreading false claims that the hurricane was modified to internally inflict mass damage on the rural counties of Georgia and the Carolinas. Holy God. Oh, my God. The same people that when Katrina went and destroyed New Orleans, sitting there saying, this is God punishing all you sinners. All of a sudden, in their argument, not mine, theirs, apparently God would be doing this. And no, you see, they're innocent civilians. A hurricane would have never done this kind of damage. They went and they sprinkled the cloud with the Jewish space lasers. God. What is wrong with you people? These conspiracy theories emerged as the storm made landfall, causing significant destruction and flooding in several communities. Some commentators basically alleged that the government agencies are private entities and manipulated the hurricane's path and intensity. Really? They claim that this is alleged modification aimed at target rural areas, particularly those with fewer resources. Experts in meteorology and climate science quickly debunked these assertions, saying, hey, you can't do that. But that doesn't stop them. They emphasize that hurricanes are a natural phenomenon influenced by a multitude of environmental factors, including ocean temperatures and atmospheric conditions. As a matter of fact, one of the things I was reading about was how the mountains of the southern Appalachians, one of the reasons why all that rain came on out is because that tropical storm got into those mountains, and it just basically, it knocked all the mountain, the elevation knocked the water out of the clouds. NOAA confirms there is no weather modification activities that resulted in Hurricane Helene. Hurricanes form in their own given on the right conditions, in this case with Helene. We've actually had to spend time now on this. Social media has played a crucial role in rapid dissemination of these false claims. Many users have shared videos and memes suggesting the government processed technology to steer storms. These posts often gain traction in echo chambers where misinformation spreads with scrutiny, like Twitter, formerly Normal. They used to actively delete and flag misinformation since the sale to Elon Musk. Basically, I'm surprised he's not generating half this stuff himself. That's at least my suspicion. I don't know. It's just amazing where this has gone. Republican nominee former President Trump also wasted no time making the devastation a campaign sticking point, holding basically a press conference in front of a ruined store, calling out the Democrats. I mean, just stop it. Help these people, for God's sakes. I'll see you at the debate tonight. Talk to you later, Chicago and Seattle, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Hour 2 up next.
Hey, it's Patrick. We're headed into the Halloween season, and maybe you're thinking about having a Halloween party at your house later this month, but your carpet looks like something right out of a horror movie. But it's easy for you to make a good decision. Unlike a character in a horror movie, just call My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res. They'll take care of all those carpet terrors like pet messes, spills, and stains. Right now, you can get your entire home zero resified from Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner and get 3 rooms of carpet starting at $129 and take $75 off to get all that scary stuff out of your air ducts as well. Don't let missing this deal haunt you. Call my friends at Zero Res today for 3 rooms starting at $129 and $75 off an air duct cleaning. Book your appointment today by calling 952-ZERO-RES or going to ZeroResMinnesota.com and asking for the AM 950 special. Back order forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Your Need to Know News headquarters, the Tom Hartman Program, AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Iran launched missile attacks toward Israel.
The initial assessment is that Israel was able to successfully defend itself, of course, with the support from the U.S.
Major General Pat Ryder at the Pentagon says about 200 missiles were fired. Before Iran's attack, Israel had landed a series of devastating blows in recent weeks against the leadership of Iran-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says it doesn't look like there is a lot of damage.
The initial assessment is that Israel was able to successfully defend itself, of course, with the support from the U.S.
Israel has vowed retaliation. New York Mayor Eric Adams insists he can do the job despite being indicted on federal bribery charges. The AP's Julie Walker is in New York.
I don't need an acting mayor because I'm an actual mayor.
Outside City Hall, juice bar owner Shamel Kelly complained he'd been the victim of a shakedown by an Adams staffer to get to pay to keep police away from his business.
I lost my business and my livelihood, and I lost a part of myself.
The staffer involved was fired. Adams denies involvement. Meanwhile, the mayor would not say whether his indictment affects his federal security clearance. Julie Walker, New York.
Election officials in North Carolina say they'll do everything in their power to ensure voters in the crucial presidential swing state will be able to cast their ballots despite the devastation of Hurricane Helene. Crews are searching for survivors in North Carolina's mountains. Helene has killed more than 150 people in the South. Houston attorney Tony Busby says he's representing 120 accusers who've come forward with sexual misconduct allegations against Sean Diddy Combs, who's awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Busby says he expects lawsuits to be filed within the next month. This is AP News. His publicist says John...
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hey, it's Patrick. We're headed into the Halloween season, and maybe you're thinking about having a Halloween party at your house later this month, but your carpet looks like something right out of a horror movie. But it's easy for you to make a good decision. Unlike a character in a horror movie, just call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res. They'll take care of all those carpet terrors like pet messes, spills, and stains. Right now, you can get your entire home zero resified from Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner and get 3 rooms of carpet starting at $129 and take $75 off to get all that scary stuff out of your air ducts as well. Don't let missing this deal haunt you. Call my friends at Zero Res today for 3 rooms starting at $129 and $75 off an air duct cleaning. Book your appointment today by calling 952-ZERO-RES or going to ZeroResMinnesota.com and asking for the AM 950 special. Back order forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Fame, fortune, family. It's all on the line in the Lehman Trilogy on stage at the Guthrie Theater as 3 brothers transform their humble family business into a world-renowned finance firm. Spanning 170 pivotal years of American history, this compelling portrayal of the real-life Lehman Brothers follows the rise and fall of their family dynasty. Will the rewards outweigh the risks, or will their legacy crumble under the pressure? Don't miss the Lehman Trilogy at the Guthrie, September 14th through October 13th. Tickets at GuthrieTheater.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 52, Wednesday sunny with a high near 80, and Thursday partly cloudy with a high around 69. Spice up your meals with Vinaigrette's exquisite flavors. Unleash creativity in your kitchen using their premium extra virgin olive oils, balsamic vinegars, and more. Vinaigrette has been family owned since 2009 and is located at 50th and Xerxes. Elevate your dishes with Vinaigrette. VinaigretteMN.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Tuesday on debate night in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Matt McNeil show, Matt and Brett here today. So we need to go through some information because at 4 o'clock we stopped taking online ticket orders. You can still join us for the VP debate. It's gonna be it's a good crowd, man. We're gonna have a good crowd tonight. You want to join us? You have to come to the door at the Park Tavern. I think we're in the 11th frame, correct? Is that the setup we got over there?
Yep, we are in the 11th frame. So when you come in that front door, just head to your right. I think it's where the Packers normally have their.
Yeah, it is.
We're in the Packer bar. Just look for the room where they have a bunch of Packer jerseys.
Do they mop up the tears? Anyway, if you see someone who's French kissing a pickle burger, that's me. I love you. So we're going to be in there. Crute starts. We're starting right away. I mean, as soon as we open the doors, we're going to have a broadcast going on with Mike Crute doing his show live, right?
Yeah, he's doing the Devil's Advocates live from 6 to 7 right at the Park Tavern. So we have 2 hours of back-to-back live programming with, of course, Crute at 6 o'clock, and you're at 7 with our debate pre-show.
I'm at 7? What? Oh, okay. No, I'll be there. We're going to have a lot of the hosts there. We also have some trivia we're going to be doing. Do we have the debate bingo again?
I think we are doing debate bingo, yes.
You know, you have to have couch. Couch has got to be one of the, if the word couch gets mentioned, that's got to be on the bingo cards, man. You didn't tell me that's on the bingo cards.
I'm thinking that's going to be on the bingo card, yes.
If eyeliner, if he looks like Ranger Rick, you know, that's on the bingo cards, right? So at the door, what's the cost of tickets at the door?
So now they're $30 at the door. So still stop by the Park Tavern. Even if you didn't have time to order them online, we're still taking them at the door. So head on over tonight.
I got Bakken is walking behind me. Hey, Greg, you're going to be out there, man? Are you bringing a Sasquatch this time?
You are going to be driving me out there. Didn't you know that?
I'm driving you out. I'm carpooling with the Sasquatch? That's cool, man.
We'll stick him in the trunk.
All right. It still won't be seen, man. I got Bakken's going to be out there. So I got Greg on the stage. I don't know who do we know all the names of the people, all the hosts that are going to be there?
Yeah, not just Greg Bakken. We're going to have Philip Anthony from the Downright Upright Show, Bruce Klopfleisch from, of course, the Politics Matter show.
Klopfleisch. All right, yeah, good.
And I think JP might be out there as well.
Might be JP. All right, we might get Pilot. Any chance on them?
I think Pilot's out of town. So
he's a busy man. He's got real busy meetings. I'm like, I'm going to have a pickle burger. He's actually trying to, change the world and make it a better place. All right, so we're going to be there, Park Tavern. We will have some appetizers, get some food out there. Of course, we're in the 11th frame. It starts at 6 with the live broadcast with Crute. I will be there. We'll have trivia. We got gifts to give away. We got books. Who's the books that we have upstairs?
That I don't know off the top of my head which books we have out there, but I think there might be some Tom Hartman ones.
Yeah, I think they are the Tom Hartman books. Okay, so we got Tom Hartman books we're going to be giving away. Look forward to seeing you out there at the Park Tavern tonight. It's going to be good fun. And if for no other reason, as when we did this a few weeks back, it was just nice to be around a bunch of other like-minded people and realize, there's more of us here than there are of them. And that's, I think, a good thing. Did you see Stauber? For some reason, his debate watching party is in Mankato. I'm no geography whiz, but I'm pretty sure Mankato's not in the 8th district.
He took his congressional geography from Jason Lewis back when he was recording ads in the wrong district. Yeah.
There you go. Well done. Or is this drinking fountains in Minneapolis?
Yeah.
It's not like the GOP, Minnesota GOP is having a debate watching party up in Hermantown, which is his district, but apparently he doesn't want to be with you people. You rapscallions in Hermantown. He's going to go down to Mankato, which tells me that House race, that Minnesota House race, is probably not going too well for him down there, that they're trying to bring in some heavy guns to help out. But a few things that I want to get to. And by the way, once again, Park Tavern, get your tickets at the door. We'll see you out there tonight. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys out there. First of all, can I just say, thank God it cooled down. Thank God. Today felt amazing. Just amazing. And I understand it was cool. Like you're having to grab a sweatshirt. It felt awesome. Oh, October, of course, my birth month. I love this month. October is the best, man. It's the spookiest month of the year. And, take that February. And, yeah, it's awesome. Love it. But it's got to feel like it. And if it's 85 freaking degrees and dry for the 90th day in a row, no, it doesn't feel like October. Today felt nice. I hope you had a chance to get on out and enjoy that a little bit. I also wanted to mention something I heard in the commercial break there, the Guthrie Theater. The Lehman trilogy is over there right now. I talked about this last week. I saw this. I posted some pictures of it myself, enjoying it over at the Guthrie Theater. Go see that. It is long. It is long. You're getting your pound for pound. You're getting your money's worth with this play. You're getting like a Costco buy. I mean, it is huge. It is a very long. You're going to enjoy it. But it's the story of the Lehman brothers, who the story itself is actually quite fascinating. They started as clothing and cloth a retailer in Alabama, and in a pre-Civil War, and through a series of smart innovations and moves and just circumstances falling in their right perspective, they were able to build the Lehman Brothers company, eventually moved to New York and became Lehman Brothers. And then it takes you through the crash of Lehman Brothers in 2008 and the idiots that took over that basically crashed the system. Phenomenal play. The one thing I have not talked enough about is there's only 3 dudes doing this. The entire play is 3 guys. The entire play. They play, each one of them plays like 7 or 8 roles. And they're wonderful at it. They are really wonderful at it. It is truly amazing to see. You've got to see the Lehman trilogy. Like I said, it is long. It is so worth it. Go at Guthrie Theater. Once again, hitting it out of the park. Love you guys. You're doing a great job over there. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I also have one thing I want to clarify from yesterday, because some people asked me to clarify this a little bit. All right. Up in Duluth. This weekend, I was up in Duluth on Sunday. And I was up in Duluth, and I was driving down 35, and there is a Stauber billboard up there that says labor endorsed, which, come on, you'd kill all labor unions in a heartbeat. You'd get rid of the minimum wage. You'd get rid of the 40-hour work week. You'd get rid of any kind of benefits. You'd basically turn this country back into a company town and tell you, if you don't like it, you can go die. That's Pete Stauber, everybody. That's Pete Stauber. I mean, this is the same guy who voted against the infrastructure bill, proudly voted against the infrastructure bill, calling it communism, calling it socialism. And then he tried to take credit for it because he realized, well, actually, this does some good things. He's a weasel. He's a liar. He's disgusting, and we should beat him. I think Jen Schultz is running up there. I think we have a very legit chance to knock him off in 8. I really do. And sometimes people get frustrated because it seems like the DFL's got a lot of money, but that money is set for basically their golden candidates, and everyone else is on their own. It is kind of the way it is. I mean, I don't mean to be that brutal, but it's the truth. The DFL, they, clearly Angie Craig getting a ton of their money, but there's not a lot of other people out there that are getting, the help that they need. And I think just that one billboard in Duluth, the very next billboard, you could put a billboard with Jen Schultz saying, the real labor endorsed candidate is Jen Schultz. Far more labor unions support me than support Pete Stauber. The very next billboard, put it back on his heels. Try to get him to tear that one down because he doesn't want that kind of, counterpoint. There are things you can be doing up in Minnesota 1, Minnesota 8, over more in I think they're working hard in 3 to get that seat, hold that seat, and hold the Minnesota Senate seat with Ann Stewart Johnson. But I'm come on, I think you guys have got this, apparently this haul o' cash, which is out there, and I get it. You want to help certain people. I get it. But I think that you shouldn't just basically write off a lot of these races or say good luck, because the reality is I think you can knock these people off. It is frustrating to me to see the quote unquote experts in June of the previous year saying, well, we're not really going to spend that much money up there because we don't think we can knock that person off. Really? Really? Have you really tried to go knock off Pete Stauber lately? Because I mean, if you do, he is not the popular candidate you think he is. Trump is, not going to win St. Louis County. He's got part of the North Metro as part of it in his county, is in his district now. The Native American reservations are in his district now. You have other spots. The Iron Range still has a lot of blue up there. Bemidji's got a lot of blue in there. So you can go up there and win that district. But you guys basically trying to be kingmakers, and I'm the political wizard. Stop it, man. Get out there and bust your ass. Get some money up into 8. Get some money down into 1. An equal tide raises all boats. Have you forgotten what Paul Wellstone taught us? Buy that billboard. Seriously, find the next billboard down on 35, buy that billboard, and have it be for Jen Schultz, and just dismantle Stauber with that labor quote. For goodness sakes, that's called campaigning right there. And go help her up there. Get up there, door knock, volunteer, make a donation, and everyone votes. Everyone votes this election cycle. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. It is a Tuesday, and even though we're busy with the vice presidential debate today, we still have time for our good friend over at the Minnesota Reformer, Patrick Cooligan. Brett, you got to talk with Mr. Cooligan today. What did you guys chat about?
Yeah, so mainly 2 topics we talked about today, which had to do with lobbyist spending at the Minnesota legislature reaching its highest level this past year. We're going to talk about what that meant and how there were not only a lot of lobbyists who were supporting great progressive causes, there were also many who were opposing them, including paid family leave. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll also touch on this column Patrick wrote for today, which talks about a woman he spoke with a little while back who back in 2016 had some problems with her pregnancy and ended up having to get an abortion. And this goes against what we hear a lot of Trump and Vance saying about Minnesota, how we're allowing babies to be killed in the 3rd trimester or even after they're born, using all sorts of inflammatory rhetoric. Well, Patrick's going to put more of a human face on this in terms of what this meant for this person he interviewed, and it's really worth checking out. So that's what we're talking about today on The Reformer.
Without any further ado, here is Patrick Cooligan with Brett right here on AM 950.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Brett Johnson with you here on a Tuesday afternoon. And as usual on Tuesdays, we are joined by the editor-in-chief of the Minnesota Reformer. That's Patrick Cooligan. Make sure you go to minnesotareformer.com for the best in Minnesota news and politics and in-depth reporting. As today, we are going to be previewing the vice presidential debate. Plus, we'll be talking about a column that Patrick wrote that talks about late-term abortions and some misleading statements by the Trump campaign over the past few months. Plus, we'll be talking about lobbyist numbers in the Minnesota State Legislature, and those numbers have gone up significantly since the last session in terms of the amount of money that has been spent on lobbying. So lots to get to today. Patrick, thanks so much for coming back on the show.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. So let's start off talking about lobbying, because back in 2023, Minnesota's legislative session saw an historic surge in lobbying efforts, with corporations, labor unions, and advocacy organizations spending almost $100 million to try to influence lawmakers. In fact, a new report shows that this 18% increase in spending was driven by the fact that DFL obviously had a trifecta, and they passed a lot of progressive policies such as paid family leave, universal school meals, and free college tuition. So what I'm curious about when it comes to talking about this increase in spending, when it comes to lobbying, were these all generally from progressive groups, or were some of this spending kind of in opposition to progressive policies? I'm kind of curious how the gamut kind of ran on this increase in lobbyist spending.
No, we had plenty of spending on the corporate side, and that makes sense because they were really playing a lot of defense. So they were spending a lot of money trying to persuade lawmakers to slow down a bit on those progressive policies. I don't. The evidence wouldn't show that it was money particularly well spent, although perhaps I think the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce has told its members that it could have been a lot worse for them, especially on the paid leave law that was passed in 2023 and takes effect in 2026. But certainly some big spending on the progressive side. There were a lot of nonprofits that were trying to get their hands on some of that surplus money, the $17 billion surplus. The teachers union, after really delivering in the election of 2022, turned around and certainly played a big role trying to influence legislation and generally had a very good session. So it was, I would say there was parity between progressive groups and labor unions and some of the big business groups and businesses. Certainly Xcel Energy, traditionally always a big spender on lobbying, especially at the Public Utilities Commission. That makes sense, but then also at the legislature. If you remember, the 2040 carbon-free energy mandate, electricity mandate, was legislated, and Xcel will have a big role in that policy. So yeah, it was a huge year. And other thing to keep in mind is that coming out of the pandemic, this was really 2023 was the first sort of regular legislative session where there was much more face-to-face contact around the Capitol. And so that explains some of the increase. And then, of course, there was also inflation in 2021 and 22 that could explain some of it. But when all is said and done, I mean, I joked with our reporter, Michelle Griffith, that there's probably some lake houses and some boats that were paid for by that 2023 session.
Well, you can read more about those numbers over at minnesotareformer.com, including how the definition of a lobbyist changed over the past few years, which may have also led to that increase in spending. Again, find more details about that over at minnesotareformer.com. Want to move on now to a column that you wrote in this week's Reformer, in fact, today, which basically has to do with misleading statements by Trump and Vance when it comes to abortion. Because in a powerful and very emotional story, Brooklyn Park mom Tippi Amundsen shared her experience back in 2016 with a medically necessary abortion after receiving heartbreaking news about her pregnancy. Her story highlights the stigma surrounding later-term abortions, the dangerous political rhetoric from figures like Donald Trump, and really the importance of access to safe reproductive care. Tippi was born to a religious anti-abortion family, and the last thing she could have imagined is becoming an abortion's rights advocate. But as with so many people, life ends up happening. So, Patrick, as you had a chance to talk to Tippi, tell us a little bit about her story and what she went through back in 2016, because this is something that often gets kind of forgotten about when we talk about later term abortions, when they're so often highlighted by Trump and Vance using very right-wing and inflammatory rhetoric. So tell us about what she went through back in 2016.
Yeah, so she and her husband had planned this pregnancy. It was their first baby. They wanted to have a family, and everything was going along. And then they get this terrible news at around 20 weeks, which is that their baby did not have a secure attachment to her placenta, which means he was not getting nutrients, and he'd stopped developing between 12 and 15 weeks. So there was really no chance of survival, even though he still had a heartbeat. But certainly the worst kind of news you can hear as a pregnant person. And then the news was actually worse because the placenta was growing into her uterus. And so the doctor said, well, if you don't move quickly here, we may have to remove her uterus. And that would, of course, prevent her from carrying babies in the future. And at 20 weeks, this is pre Dobbs. So even with the protections of Roe v. Wade at the time, and also our own version of Roe v. Wade called Doe v. Gomez here in Minnesota, it was hard for her to find a place where that would do the procedure that late in the pregnancy. And she wound up at Planned Parenthood. She now has 3 children. But part of what has been so difficult and traumatic is that when Republicans, and especially Donald Trump, talk about these kinds of abortions, they really they act as if it's infanticide and as if people are just having these elective abortions, including he made the claim in the debate, recent debate earlier this month, that essentially that murder after the child is born is legal in Minnesota. That's obviously not true. It's not true anywhere. And it really demeans her experience, and so it's painful for her and so many mothers like her to have to go through these political campaigns when you have people who don't understand, apparently, or choose to lie about the complications of pregnancy, making these comments, and so she's activated and trying to get her story and the stories of mothers like her out to the country, so that we can make good choices about reproductive health policy.
And I think, as you point out in your newsletter, we do need to do a better job really teaching people, and I think primarily men, about all the complications that can result with pregnancy and the birthing process. Because I think as you look at someone like Trump and Vance, they're either misleading because they don't know, or they're flat out lying. But overall, I think a lot of people just don't overall know about all the complications that can happen with pregnancy and birth.
Yeah, and I think there's a problem with lack of comprehensive sex education, and that's certainly lacking in the United States as well. And that's almost it became something that I really figured out as I was reporting and writing this piece. I was like, wow, people just don't really have any idea. And I think that for so long, the abortion rights movement was back on its heels and was kind of playing defense. And now I think it's time to turn that around and help educate people about, some of what can go on after the first trimester, and why it's important to keep abortion rights throughout the pregnancy.
I also want to ask you about this because there's this important distinction when it comes to some words in Minnesota law, because the distinction between the words preserve and care in Minnesota's abortion laws is really a focal point for the anti-abortion movement. Can you explain why this change occurred in Minnesota law, and really why anti-abortion activists have really latched onto this when it comes to pushing a lot of their inflammatory rhetoric when it comes to abortion?
Yeah. So the statute used to say that a born alive infant is, as a result of an abortion, shall be fully recognized as a human person, and reasonable measures consistent with good medical practice shall be taken by responsible medical personnel to preserve the life and health of a born alive infant. The language was changed to say that an infant who is born alive shall be fully recognized as a human person, and accorded immediate protection under the law, and that responsible medical personnel should care for the infant who is born alive. And so there was a slight word change in 2023, and the anti-abortion advocates say that it precluded or it prevented us from forcing medical personnel to save the life of a child, when in fact all it did was prevent. It's a reading of the law which could require extraordinary measures that might temporarily preserve the child's life, but exacerbating his suffering before his inevitable death. So the reason they changed that was because it gave legal protection in these cases where the child is going to expire, and what you don't want is to have medical personnel taking extraordinary measures that are just going to prolong suffering. And also, it's to be clear, the statute still says that the infant who is born alive shall be fully recognized as a human person. So that does not mean that murder is somehow legal now because of the statute change. All it did was make very clear that doctors do not have to go to extraordinary lengths to keep a child alive when you would just be exacerbating his suffering before he inevitably dies.
Which is important to point out because we're likely to hear that sort of rhetoric tonight when J.D. Vance takes on Tim Walz. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't mention that during the debate, but still an important distinction to bring up when it comes to what that wording actually means and that change in Minnesota law. Make sure you go and read Patrick's column talking about Tippi Amundsen and what she experienced back in 2016, because it does give you a new perspective on, well, what some of these right-wingers are talking about when they mention late-term abortions and how it's a much more complicated issue than they make it out to be. Find that over at MinnesotaReformer.com. We have been speaking with Patrick Houlihan, who is the editor-in-chief of the Minnesota Reformer. Again, MinnesotaReformer.com. Patrick, as always, thanks for coming on the show today.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.
All right, let's take a break and send things back over to Matt McNeil on AM 950.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Looking for a good time? Step into the vibrant world of Roxy's Cabaret, Minneapolis' premier entertainment destination, where drag queens reign supreme and laughter fills the air. From dazzling drag shows and lively brunches to classic movie screenings, karaoke nights, and game nights. Roxy's Cabaret offers a diverse array of events that cater to every taste and preference. Visit Roxy's Cabaret at 1333 Nicollet Mall in Minneapolis, which is also the home of the Nicollet Diner and On the Rocks. Check them out at roxyscabaret.com.
Join Twin Cities Quorum as they celebrate their 31st annual National Coming Out Day Luncheon. This inspirational, transformational event gives voice to the power of living openly, honestly, and with authenticity at work, in our families, in our faith communities, and across our lives. The National Coming Out Day Luncheon serves as a celebration of who we are individually and together. Join us as our community celebrates the strength, courage, and wisdom of LGBTQ+ and allied people who have braved their own unique journeys to now live openly, authentically, and with pride. Reserve your tickets today for Friday, October 11th. This year's National Coming Out Day Luncheon will be at the Minneapolis Convention Center. The Marketplace Expo opens at 10 a.m. and the luncheon begins at 11:45 a.m. Tickets are available to members for $70 or non-members for $90. Learn more and purchase your tickets in the event section at TwinCitiesQuorum.com. That's TwinCitiesQuorum.com. Support for AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, comes from Theatre Latte Da's regional premiere of Scotland, PA. Take a bite out of this deliciously macabre, laugh out loud, New York Times critics pick based on the cult film and Shakespeare's play, running September 18th through October 20th at the Ritz. Tickets at latteda.org.
Join the community spirit at Four Sisters Farmers Market, a seasonal hub for cultural placemaking, food access, and Indigenous values. Four Sisters Farmers Market has always emphasized their commitment to the community and inclusivity, accepting SNAP and EBT benefits. Stop by and get affordable, healthy, and culturally appropriate local food. Four Sisters Farmers Market is open Thursdays 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and is located on the American Indian Cultural Corridor off of Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Discover more about Four Sisters Farmers Market on their social media accounts.
Zip Zap Circus is coming to Minnesota for the first time ever. All the way from Cape Town, South Africa, this world-renowned company brings their acrobatic spectacle, Moya, to Children's Theater Company. Don't miss the stunning aerialists, comic jugglers, and unicycle dancers set to the energetic beat of South African pop music. Zip Zap Circus's Moya plays at CTC September 12th through October 20th. Tickets and information at childrenstheater.org.
Hi, I'm Mary T, inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy, experience wellness.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 52, Wednesday sunny with a high near 80, and Thursday partly cloudy with a high around 69. Tired of ordinary meals? Elevate your culinary experience with Vinaigrette's premium oils and vinegars. From extra virgin olive oils to balsamic vinegars, they've been perfecting the art since 2009. A family-owned gem at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis. Visit vinaigrettemn.com for a taste of excellence.
AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. Once again, join us tonight over at the VP debate party over at the Park Tavern. We are looking forward to being over there. It is obviously been one of those things where it's obviously with the tragic accident that happened out there. It has been nice to see them come back after the tragedy. And we've talked about this. Just go there. If you want to help out the Park Tavern, you're thinking about a place to go get some food, go to the Park Tavern. You want to do some bowling, go to the Park Tavern. Halloween bowling, by the way. Halloween bowling, awesome. As a person who has an October birthday, October birthday parties at the bowling alley, awesome. There you go. Plus, if you are into sports, no matter what your sport is, no matter who your team is, they're going to have it on one of their TVs. So, and if they don't, they'll get it for you. I mean, it's that good. I mean, they are that fantastic. Go to the Park Tavern. Enjoy this with us tonight. I did want to mention this. Stephen Bailey, the man who's accused of killing 2 people and injuring 9 others after driving drunk and crashing into the Park Tavern patio in St. Louis Park, will be granted conditional release from the Hennepin County, from Hennepin County for the time being, which I'm not too good with. He'll be released from the Hennepin County Jail while his case moves through the courts. And with an omnibus hearing on Tuesday in Hennepin County District Court, Bailey in black-rimmed glasses and orange jumpsuit appeared alongside of his attorney. Bailey glanced occasionally at the gallery where his family sat alongside friends and family of the victims while the conditions of his release were discussed. Judge Juan Hoyos agreed to allow Bailey, who's already posted bond of $500,000, to be released on October 14th to a sober living facility. Hoyos ordered that Bailey be placed on home monitoring, including remote electronic alcohol monitoring, and can only be allowed to leave the facility to attend meetings for Alcoholics Anonymous and or Narcotics Anonymous. Now, I think that's interesting. I'll come back to that here in a second. The court recently received a chemical dependency evaluation report on Bailey. At his first Bailey hearing in September, Bailey denied any problematic use of drugs or alcohol during the evaluation. The results of Bailey's chemical dependency evaluation were not discussed in the court, but Hoyos said Bailey had met the conditions for his release at a treatment facility. The Bailey's facing 13 criminal charges related to the crash that killed Park Tavern employee Christina Folkerts and St. Louis Park and a customer Gabriel Quinn Harvey, 30 of Rosemont. Folkerts is a mother of 3 who served at the restaurant where her mother also worked. Harvey, a health unit coordinator at nearby Methodist Hospital and a nursing school student, was there with others celebrating his colleague's departure. Bailey, 56, is charged with 2 counts of third-degree murder, 2 counts of criminal vehicular homicide, 9 counts of criminal vehicular operation. Surveillance video showed Bailey driving a BMW SUV into the Park Tavern parking lot, which was closed to capacity just after 8 p.m. on September 2nd, a Labor Day evening, weekend evening there. Several people were walking through the parking lot. Bailey would have been able to clearly see the people seated at the patio where driving through the lot. Paley drove past the parking spot, seemed to notice it, then reversed. He reversed too far, hit the parked car behind him, then accelerated in what appears to be an attempt to flee the scene. Bailey swerved to avoid another SUV near him, but crashed into the rear driver's side of that car. He continued to accelerate and crashed through the metal fence into the patio seating. After he crashed on the patio at Park Tavern, police administered a preliminary breath test at Hennepin County Medical Center. Bailey's blood alcohol content was measured at 0.325, 4 times the legal limit. Court documents say Bailey has 5 previous convictions for drunken driving. At the time of the Park Tavern crash, Bailey had a valid Minnesota driver's license. If there's court-appointed Narcotics Anonymous treatment being ordered here as well. And that's what it says. He can attend meetings for Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. It would seem to me that he was more than just alcohol that he was involved with there. It seems like he was probably involved with something else as well. So I don't think you should let him out, but it does sound like it's not like he's going to be home. He's going to be in a facility. He's going to have ankle monitoring. He can't leave the facility. He is basically there. Join me tonight at the Park Tavern. All right. $30 at the door for the VP debate. We're going to have some appetizers in the Park Tavern. We're going to have a good time out there. Stop on by. Please do. I hope to see you out there tonight. I want to go into the story, and this is a story from this weekend, and I'm a little mixed on this one. As they prepare for trial starting this week, Hennepin County Attorney's Office filed a motion asking the court to order the Minnesota State Patrol to release any public or private misconduct records against 7 state troopers involved in the case. All right. The troopers weren't going to trial. They arrested a man who allegedly fled a traffic stop before the State Patrol helicopter traced him to an apartment where he's found hiding under a bed with a gun and drugs nearby. The motion asking for misconduct records known as Brady Gigolo review, Brady Gigolo, Gigilo, Brady Gigolo, represents a new tactic for how the Attorney's Office is approaching the legal obligation for gathering and sharing evidence of police misconduct under Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty. In the past 8 months, the office has filed the same motion nearly 600 times. There's nothing new legally about the need to gather and share Brady Gigolo information. The legal requirement stems from 2 U.S. Supreme Court decisions, 63 and 72, regarding due process. In practical terms, prosecutors need to disclose to the defense any information about the case that would benefit the person charged with a crime or any question about the credibility of the potential witnesses. All right. In the past, prosecutors and law enforcement typically work together to gather pertinent data related to the police misconduct or questions about witness credibility. Then they'd share it with the defense ahead of the trial. But if a police department didn't disclose pieces of disciplinary information or a prosecutor didn't push to obtain it, the case would be overturned on appeal. Kevin Burke spent 10 years as chief judge of Hennepin County District Court before retiring in 2020. He said Brady Gigolo has been around for decades. Nearly every practicing lawyer in the United States grew up with it, and there have been egregious examples of it not being complied with ever since. This is the problem. I mean, this is something you're supposed to comply with. And I guess what the most obvious example of this was, say you had a confrontation between a police officer and an African-American man. And the African-American man is claiming that there was, he was targeted. This was a targeted attack on him, that he was wrongly targeted. It should not have happened. On the other side of it is the police officer saying, oh, that's just garbage. I just pulled him over. But if the police officer has a documented history of targeting African-Americans, well, all of a sudden that becomes very applicable to the case. I mean, that's obviously that's especially if they've had a consistent problem with it, or if they had a problem only like 2 or 3 months earlier. That actually is relevant and could actually weigh on whether or not there was a legitimate problem there. So there is some legitimacy to why Brady Gigolo exists. But it just seems like by choice, most police department or most county attorneys have never really complied with it for reasons. I guess was because they don't want to necessarily embarrass police officers or, give someone they want to basically go to jail a viable defense. I don't know. My example is just an example. There have been problems. Trust me. I live in the Twin Cities metro area. There have been problems with racial targeting and profiling within police departments in areas. That's the case. I don't think most police officers are like that, though, especially once you get out of the Minneapolis under the Bob Kroll administration there, that once you got away from that seemed to clean up some of that problem right there. And it wasn't just Bob. I mean, this is, decades of racial targeting and prejudice by the Minneapolis police. But it just doesn't seem like do you really? I can kind of get what county attorneys. Well, this guy doesn't really have anything, so do we really need to do that? Well, I mean, if you know for sure that they don't have anything against him, yeah, fine. But some police departments have not been as forthright in providing material. Burke said, I think that if you're a prosecutor putting this outside of Hennepin, just a prosecutor any place, if you don't comply, it's most conviction proceedings waiting to happen. Post-conviction proceeding waiting to happen. Moriarty told the Star Tribune that her office was taking a more proactive approach to gathering Brady Gigolo information to follow those Supreme Court decisions. That announcement kept up with two core campaign promises that she would hold the police accountable and that her office would be more transparent in how they operate. Hennepin County Attorney's Office declined to comment for the story, but provided data on the use of the motion, which when asked if it was filing court orders for Brady Gigolo data. The Ramsey County Attorney's Office provided a link to its internal policy, which says its prosecutors are not limited in any way in trying to gather that information. The Anoka County and Dakota County Attorney's Offices said they are not filing motions in a similar manner to Hennepin County. The Hennepin County Public Defender's Office didn't respond to a request for comment. Jeff Potts, the executive director of the Minnesota Police Chief Association, says Moriarty positioning stands in contrast with other counties in the past in the state and how law enforcement has worked with Hennepin County in the past. I would say that is probably indicative of the relationship she has creating with police chiefs. Potts said most other county attorneys are doing this in a way that is probably equally effective. However, their style is more cooperative and collaborative. The county attorney has chosen to use court orders to obtain information. Okay. And once again, the person here that's speaking at the end is Potts. This is Jeff Potts, the executive director of the Minnesota Police Chief of Police Association. If it's required information that the Supreme Court has said you have to hand over, and you're not being forthright with it, what I look at the Hennepin County prosecutor is doing is trying to stave off a mistrial or a verdict overturned on appeal by basically getting all that information out right away so that there's no question about it. Now, okay, so say, I'm just going to pull up a hypothetical. Say that you are a county attorney and you're prosecuting a crime, and you decide to do the handshake deal that Potts kind of is implying, is that, yeah, there's been a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of a deal here. We'll let them know if there's any problem. And they get a conviction of a criminal. And it's discovered afterwards that Brady Gigolo wasn't followed, and that the police officer who arrested the criminal, and say the criminal was charged with embezzlement, stealing money from some organization, that the police officer had to be reprimanded because they bounced 2 checks, or they themselves were called, and there had to be a performance review sort of thing in a private life matter, and that information wasn't shared. Now, does that really impact the trial? I don't know. I think a judge that is looking to make sure there are no I's not dotted and T's not crossed might have an issue with that. But at the end of the day, would they say, well, that directly impacts the trial ruling? I don't know. I will say, if it's something that you're supposed to do, well, it should be getting done. And the one thing that really kind of screams at me right now with this is that, are there cases out there where there has been an applicable, punishment or past grievance? What's the exact term that here? If there has been police misconduct by an officer which hasn't been shared intentionally to the defense team, which could have change the outcome of that case. It sure sounds like it. I mean, it sounds like what happens at most counties is the county attorney goes down to the sheriff, or sheriff or the local police department, and says, hey, does this guy have any problems? And they say, nope, good enough for me. And they don't go with it. But if I was an attorney and I was on the defense and they hadn't released all the Brady Gigolo stuff where you basically have the right to call for that information, and you find out that there is, and I'll go back to that original thing, there's a police officer who clearly has a problem with minorities, who basically the person who has been charged with a crime is saying I was targeted because I'm a minority. Well, then you have something that's applicable. You have definitive applicability there. I don't know. I'm a little concerned about this whole idea that none of this matters or handshake deals. I get why you don't want to feel like the police are being targeted and being reviewed themselves. But this isn't Mary Moriarty making this up. This is something that's supposed to be getting enforced everywhere. And frankly, once again, it seems to me to avoid a mistrial, to avoid the verdict getting overturned on appeal, you would want to have all the information that's required out there in front of everybody as it goes. That's the best way to do it. I can, like I said, I'm kind of torn on this because I can understand why the police say, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, but this isn't about Moriarty. This is about more. A lot of other county attorneys basically ignoring the Supreme Court ruled language, which basically says you have to do this as a handshake, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There's nothing really going on here, hoping that that's the case, that there really wasn't anything going on there. I think we go back to the cases which we talk about, the guy we have the case where the guy they're trying to get the charges thrown away against him because the police clearly lied about him being there at the scene of the crime. The prosecutor knew that the guy wasn't bald when they showed the mug shots, but they still showed a bald version of him to get the mug shot conviction. With that guy, and that was Freeman, of course, George Floyd, all these things, the Julius Stallings, all this stuff, that's all Freeman. I don't think there should be such a cozy relationship between county prosecutors and the law enforcement. I don't think there should be. And I can point to a lot of different reasons why. I'm sorry, it might cause you some extra paperwork, but if the Supreme Court says we have to do it, well, I think you have to do it. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show here on your Tuesday.
Discover the emotional depth and vivid storytelling of Jay White's Arikara Proper at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This solo exhibition celebrates Arikara culture through the lens of an urban Indian perspective. Experience themes of empowerment, depictions of Native women, stars, and star quilts within White's vibrant acrylic paintings. Arikara Proper is showing now through October 5th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. Get inspired by Jay White's powerful storytelling on canvas. Details at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The future of car shopping is here right now at Rudy Luther Toyota with Luther Direct. It's car shopping without ever leaving your home. Go to rudyluthertoyota.com and click on the Luther Direct button. Choose any vehicle in Rudy Luther Toyota's current inventory, either new or certified pre-owned. Then find out your trade-in's value, review a payment plan you qualify for and customize it, and then set up a time for Rudy Luther to drop off your new vehicle and pick up your trade-in. It's that simple. Your new vehicle without any of the hassle. Check out Luther Direct today at rudyluthertoyota.com.
Twin Cities Con returns to the Minneapolis Convention Center for their fourth year, November 8th through 10th. Twin Cities Con is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&A, and even more. Twin Cities Con is bigger and better than ever before, with guests like Anakin Skywalker himself, Hayden Christensen, Stephanie Beatrice from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Encanto, WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Sting, and Lou Diamond Phillips. plus your favorite voice actors. 3 days of action-packed fun in the heart of Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Tickets start at $25. Kids tickets are just $8 for the entire weekend. VIP tickets are also available, including some really cool VIP perks. Early bird pricing ending October 1st. Don't wait to get your tickets at this discounted rate. Buy your tickets and get more information at TwinCitiesCon.com.
If I were a human being.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. By the way, Adam's here right now. Hi, Adam. He's usually in with Greg Bakken at night. He's helping to produce as we get in here. Because once again, we got a big night here. So Park Tavern's where we're going to be at for the VP debate. We open the doors at 6. Got Mike Cruitt out there broadcasting live in the 6 o'clock hour. 7 o'clock hour is me with all the rest of the guests. We got trivia. We got bingo. We've got, we're going to have great appetizers, stuff like that. And then, of course, the VP debate starts at 8 o'clock. You can join us. You have to get tickets at the door now, though. Tickets are $30 at the door. Head on over to the Park Tavern and join us out there tonight. We're going to have a pretty good-sized crowd. So, yeah, we look forward to seeing you out there. We're on the 11th lane is where we're going to be at. So, looking forward to this. I talked last hour about the failure of Republicans in rural America. And I want to repeat that because I've lived in rural America and I've seen this with my own eyes. You guys keep voting for them. They keep making your life worse and worse. Your lives are far worse than they were 50 years ago when you started electing Republicans, when they promised, we're going to make your life better. And it's funny. They have made your lives progressively worse and worse and worse as they've gone through this. And yet they keep saying, well, it's bad with us, but it'll be worse with the Democrats. Meanwhile, we're in the Democratic utopias. It's great here. Good schools, quality health care, clean water. Yeah, we're doing great. We have no, there are some problems here, but you know what? I love the quality of life in the Twin Cities. Duluth is gorgeous. Rochester, Mankato. These are great towns, man. Here we got another one. Fairmont. The Mayo Clinic Health System has announced it's closing its surgical labor and delivery units at its Fairmont location. That's about 60 miles west of Albert Lea. Mayo Clinic says the services will end permanently March 31st of next year. The Fairmont Clinic says it's already moving deliveries and expecting mothers to go to Mankato or other locations of their choice. The hospital says the primary reason for the closure is a shortage of physicians in the area. Mayo Clinic says impacted staff will have other employment opportunities in southern Minnesota. In an announcement, Mayo Clinic included a statement for expecting mothers looking for another facility. They gave a list of other facilities. So, you live in Fairmont. How's that feel? That if you're pregnant right now and you're supposed to give birth, you just found out you're pregnant, your due date's now April. Your doctor is 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away at best. At best. I'd be, that's not ideal. Let's just call it what it is. When you look at how this is going, and let's talk first of all about the people that currently work in these fields at the Fairmont Hospital. That they basically are now going to have to, say you live in Fairmont, you just bought a place there. Now you have to go someplace else. It's not convenient. All of a sudden you're driving 30, 40, 50 miles to get to your new job, your new location. I also want to point out the primary reason is the shortage of physicians in the area. I keep going back to the point that in rural America, if you were a doctor who said you should get vaccinated during COVID, what did you say? You're evil and trying to kill us all. We should sue you. I've said this before when we have stories of schools closing. Have you tried being nice? I'm serious. Have you tried being nice? Have you tried basically not trying to lead with your political agenda every freaking time you talk to somebody about you better do what we say or else? Because that's kind of what turns people away. Needless to say, I don't see any Republicans scrambling up to St. Paul to say we need an immediate bill here to save this these services at the Fairmont Hospital. Nope, they're not going to do a damn thing for you. They're not going to do a dang thing outside of blame the Democrats when this is just, the conservatives have built this culture and they've built this situation. And that's just a fact. That is just a fact. And it's sad. They're hurting you. They're not helping you. I'll see you guys at the Park Tavern. Have a good one. Native Roots Radio is coming up next. Till tomorrow. See ya.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Iran launched almost 200 missiles at Israel today, though Israeli authorities say there were no injuries and only scattered damage from falling shrapnel. Most of the missiles intercepted. The attack came after Israel said its ground troops crossed into Lebanon overnight, aiming to root out Hezbollah. President Biden.
At my direction, the United States military actively supported the defense of Israel, and we're still assessing the impact. But based on what we know now, the attack appears to have been defeated and ineffective.
Rescuers are scouring the mountains of western North Carolina for anyone still accounted for since Hurricane Helene's remnants caused catastrophic damage. The death toll across the Southeast has reached 159. President Biden on the federal government's response.
In the storm's wake, I've directed my team, including the leadership of key departments and agencies all across the government, to send every available resource that we have at our disposal to the affected region.
Residents have been lining up for water and food and hunting for cell signals while emergency crews work to clear roads